AITA for refusing to let my brother's fiancée stay at my house after she lied about my husband. So I, 29F, have a brother, 27M, David, who's been with his fiancée, Emily, 25F, for about 2 years now. They've been engaged for about 6 months, and I've always tried to be supportive. But recently, things have been tense between me and Emily, and I'm starting to feel like she's overstepping. Let me start with some backstory. I've been married to my husband, Mark, 31M, for 4 years. He's great, but he's also a bit of a quiet guy, and sometimes he just likes to keep to himself. I can tell that Emily doesn't exactly love him, but they've always been cordial when we've all hung out. The problem started last month when Emily came to stay at our house for a weekend. My brother and his fiancée were in town for a wedding, and they needed a place to stay. We've got a guest room, so I offered it to them. I didn't mind at all, but things quickly took a weird turn. The first night they stayed, Emily started making some passive-aggressive comments about Mark. She kept saying things like, "It must be nice having a husband who doesn't talk much," or, "I just don't know how you can deal with him being so quiet all the time." I tried to brush it off, but it started to get uncomfortable. My brother just stayed silent, which is pretty typical for him. But the real issue came the next day when Emily and I were alone in the kitchen. She said, "I don't know how you trust Mark, honestly. I heard from someone that he's been talking to other women behind your back." I was immediately taken aback. I told her that wasn't true and that Mark would never do something like that. She just shrugged and said, "Well, I'm just saying a lot of people have noticed it." I was furious. Not only was she spreading this lie about my husband, but she was doing it in my own home, and to me of all people. I told her she needed to stop with the rumors, and if she couldn't respect my relationship, she was welcome to leave. She laughed it off and acted like I was overreacting, but I kicked her out anyway. Later that night, my brother called me, saying that Emily was upset and that I should apologize to her. He said she didn't mean it like that, and that I should give her a break. But I told him I wasn't going to apologize for standing up for my husband, and I wasn't going to let someone lie about him in my own home. He didn't take it well and we argued. He ended up staying with her at a hotel and they left the next morning. Now, my parents are upset with me, saying I should have just let it go and that I overreacted. They're saying Emily's not used to my type of humor, which is honestly just being straightforward, and I shouldn't have kicked her out like that. They also mentioned that Emily has a history of getting into arguments with family members, so I should have handled it better to avoid drama. I've been feeling really torn. On one hand, I do feel like I could have approached it differently, but on the other hand, I don't think I should have to tolerate someone insulting my husband and spreading lies about him. The whole thing has created tension, and now David is barely talking to me. He says I embarrassed him in front of his fiancée, and now their relationship is in a rough patch because of me. AITA for kicking her out and standing up for my husband, or should I have just let it slide?